here's the Miata, the EUNOS Roadster dash that I'm planning to refinish. From this point, it actually doesn't look that bad. It actually looks pretty good in good condition, but if you look closely, you'll see why I want to refinish it. Now, for some reason, Mazda applied a black anti-reflective paint specifically for the tanned interior NAs that's slightly a little different. But over time, what ended up happening was this paint became tacky and almost gummy to the point where I probably could press my thumb and leave my fingerprints right into the paint. Now, when I bought this car, it already had this scuff, so I already had the intentions of refinishing this dash right when I bought the car. It also has a slight bump here, which you probably can't see in the video, but you can see this crack that's forming because of that bump that's starting to form. Also, this pad has faded faster than the rest of the interior, to the point where you could sort of see the difference in shade between the door card and the pad itself. We're going to address that by painting the pad and probably painting the top portion of the door card so that it'll flow nice and even throughout the interior. Alright, let's get started.
This video was created using the 89 to 93 dashboard removal PDF created by Anthony Meeks for Miata.net. This is a comprehensive step-by-step instruction manual that has been my Bible in my dashboard refinishing project. Thanks, Anthony, and for more things that are Miata, visit Miata.net. Safety first. Disconnecting the battery. Remove the negative connection first. Then remove the positive. Be careful not to let the metal ratchet touch any part of the metal body to prevent any sparks. Next step, removing the steering wheel. Mine's an aftermarket wheel, so all I needed to do was unbolt it from the hub. If you still have the factory one, then go to this link below for instructions on removing the OEM wheel. Remember, airbags are explosive devices, so definitely give them the respect that they deserve. Next, let's remove the vents. Find some rope or a strong string. A shoelace will work well. Insert the rope through the top of the vent. Then, use something to grab the rope as it falls in the back and pull it through the bottom of the vent. In my case, I used a hook pick, yet you can also use a coat hanger or even a screwdriver to do the same job. Once you pulled enough rope, wrap it around your hand. Use a glove for safety, and make sure you pull straight back, not at an angle. Okay, now brace yourself. It will sound like you're breaking something. Now you're ready to pull the 3 other vents. To remove the steering column cover, unscrew the 4 Phillips screws from the bottom of the cover. This last screw here is pretty deep, so you might have to have a really long screwdriver. Take apart the cover gently. No need to muscle this thing off. To remove the access panel, remove these 2 Phillips screws. Now remove the glove box. It also has 2 Phillips screws underneath, and then unlatch the top. To remove the gauge hood, remove the 2 Phillips screws, one on each side. Then grab the gauge hood on each side and pull it straight back, freeing it from the clips. If you pull at an angle, you might actually break these clips. Remove the 4 Phillips screws holding in the gauge cluster. Remove the 2 wire harness and the speedometer cable. You can see this easier through the windshield. Now let's remove the center console. First, remove your shift knob and your trays. You have 5 Phillips screws to remove. 2 in the front, one in the tray, and 2 in the compartment. Now you're ready to remove the console. Make sure you clear the latches that are on the back, and also disconnect the wires that may be attached to it. Removing the tombstone involves removing the Phillips screw, one at the bottom, and a screw at the top of each vent opening. Once you have those screws out, pull the tombstone forward. Remove the storage cubby if you have one. You want to expose that wire harness that's connecting the buttons for the flasher and the pop-up lights. Disconnect this harness in order to remove the tombstone. Now remove the radio. Mine involves screws on the side, a large wire harness, and an antenna connection at the back. Next, remove the heater control unit. There are 3 control cables to disconnect. Look through the opening where the glove box used to be, and you should see a cable that controls the fresh air. Disconnect the cable to the airflow module, then go to the other side and disconnect the temperature control cable. Now unscrew the unit. Detach the 2 wire harnesses and slowly pull up the unit with the cables intact.
You may have noticed that I've put some green tape around some of the connectors. That's because the last time that I took out the dash, I accidentally trapped these connections in behind the dash. It was next to impossible to pull them out with the dash in. So I actually had to remove the dash again in order to get these connections out. So I put the green tape to indicate to me that these connections need to be out forward when I put the dash back in. I'm also going to be using a metallic Sharpie marker in order to mark off the connections when I take them apart. So if the connections are together, I'm going to mark this one an A, this one an A, so I know that these two will go together. And the reason why I use a metallic Sharpie is that it writes well on the white connections as well as the black connections.
Look under the steering column and unzip this zip tie here. See all these wire harnesses? Make sure you get them all disconnected. Get your 12mm socket wrench and disconnect these two nuts at the bottom of the steering column. One of them here. The other one here. Alright, you got them removed. Now move up the steering column to remove two more 12mm bolts. One of them here. The other one here. Now the hood release. Use a 17mm wrench to disconnect. Underneath these covers you'll find 10mm bolts, 2 on either side of the dash. You'll find two 14mm bolts under this cover, 4 in total, and a 10mm bolt under the black square cover. We're almost there. Remove this support bar by removing these two Phillips screws. Now, let's remove the dash. If you haven't already done so, disconnect all the wire harnesses connected to the dash. Tilt it forward, and now remove the dash.